Breaking news, baby dolls. Richard Hart has done Fud Wave tweet number 11 for pDAI, but this is really good. This, I am not even inclined to call it a Fud Wave anymore. This is bullish. This is bull wave number 1. I'm serious as well. So he's basically, I'm gonna read it through with you. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what he's saying first before we read it, so you know what to prepare yourself. So pretty much, the non-founder, he's told everybody, remove your liquidity from pDAI. And I agree. Do that. Because as people maybe as people realize things can get fixed, they can't get back in. They're playing musical squeaky chairs. Everybody's got a squeaky chair. There are 20 people in the room. There's 18 squeaky chairs. He's basically saying, hey, you know what's a good idea? Remove like 10 of those squeaky chairs. Now you've only got 8 for 20 people. You see that? Not everyone's going to get a seat. So now that you're prepared, yeah, because, friend, by the way, look, he's not even affected it anymore. So he's got a lot of G's out. This is such a good move, by the way. Obviously, you can do what you want. I don't have any like liquidity providing stuff out here because during these extreme times, like if you're right, the snapback is like so fast. So what we'll do now, we'll read Richie's tweets. Yeah, man, this is... Well, look, man, look. If the believers end up making it, you've learned this lesson for life. Like, just be careful of getting rid of coins. Be careful, right? As far as I'm concerned, friends, please refresh me. Did Richard say to sell it, or did he just say stop buying? He's like, I'm sure, like, you know, you talk to him, he's like, man, be careful of, like, when you sell stuff, just be careful. That's what I'm saying. Now let's read it, okay? Before I read mine. So it goes, by the way, okay, first sentence. Focus on the first sentence. Life would be better if everyone would remove all liquidity for pDAI versus everything else. The pDAI supply grew 213 million since I started tweeting about exploiters. Tons of coins are worthless out there and no one cares about them because they don't have liquidity. Meaning you can't inflate and dump them for other things and then sell those things for stables and bridge out. But instead, whoever is providing liquidity is getting extracted on, as you see from 20 minutes ago. And then those things they swapped their inflated pDAI for get sold. So when the liquidity providers stop getting pDAI dumped on them, then the holders of the other coins don't have to get dumped on as well. The extraction problem goes away, and when there's not liquidity to extract from pDAI anymore. Just like thousands and thousands of other coins on Ethereum and Pulse chain, not worth talking about because worthless. So just showing this picture out here. So yeah, friends, this is now tweet number 32 about worthless pDAI, which is, you know, we'll read between the lines, I guess. Hey, it's so worthless. You've spent 7 times more effort tweeting about this worthless coin than Hex this month. Obviously, friends, you've been watching the channel. I believe it is some sort of orchestration. That's there's 99 people in the room. On the other side, I'm the one person in the corner. And I like it like this, by the way. I do like it, okay? Because the risk reward, like, is extremely skewed to the person who's not priced it in with everyone else. And you know what, friends? I'll play some Pumpy G music. Do you know? Came back from the gym. I was eating my nice, cute little treat. I was eating food. And someone said, hey, Richard just tweeted. I'm like, bro, I can't be bothered. I literally can't be bothered, man. Not even just for Peter. Just energy, low energy. And then people in your Telegram, they're saying, no, Simon, no, you got to look at it. You got to look at it. And I've looked at it and I've thought about it. I'm like, whoa. This is an actual bullish tweet. This is literally exactly what you want, man. You want that, friends. So Richard, right? remember, friends, look, I've got another video coming out later. A lot of people have asked me about my honest thoughts on Atropa. And we have to do some speculation, friends, because whether Maria is involved or not, it changes how the dynamic you look at things through this. So remember, here's the thing, okay. Imagine we go back to Hex in 2020 and you knew that Richard was going to do the unicorn move, if you knew that, and no one else knew. So everyone else is like buying the low with like literally $4 and $60. Balliet brand put like $100 in at the bottom, I think, made like $1 million, I think. Good example. But imagine you're like from the future and you're like, oh, I'm accumulating this free money, right? Down 98%. Let me show you that, okay? So if you went back and you did that, okay, this is very critical understanding, friends. And also, while we're very lucky, Richard's even doing this, by the way, because if Richard's watching, thank you. You don't need to do any of this, man. You could have a team of VCs like everyone else, then we all get screwed. So this is a gift. I know it doesn't feel like it. It is a gift. Trust me, it's a gift. You ain't finding a dude to do this by himself. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. He's going to get other people involved. There's like KOLs and exchanges and there's supply handed out and it gets messy, okay? You ain't finding someone to do it like this. So that's why, friends, like, I know prices are down. I'm just telling you, like, if this works out, we're really lucky. He's one of like those polycule, polyneal, I don't even know what that word means. The polygifted people who can do like 18 things at once. Really lucky, man. Because you've seen what happens on layer 2 coins. They're like, oh, I need someone to, hold my squeaky chair while I sit down. And this guy's the marketing guy. And then that guy talks to exchanges, right? And then they just hire a girl. Maybe she's just got a boob job. She just sits at the front, literally does nothing. You know what I mean? That's token supply. How else are they getting paid, right? That's more insiders. You see? So this is Richie and the chart, friends. Now, imagine you knew the unicorn was going to appear. So what would actually happen is, remember, this is a weekly chart. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, you have like 6 weeks to accumulate a truck ton of supply for yourself. Maybe like 10 billion hex or something ridiculous. Redonkulous. Somehow you get like 5 billion, whatever, just billions, a huge amount, okay? Because you knew, you kept going and going. Well, you become the biggest liability of all time going up. Because you're definitely selling. Yeah, because I'm here to basically extract, right? In terms of like you cap the rally. Let's not use the word extract, you cap the rally. So that becomes a problem. Now here's the thing. How does Richard avoid that? Well, he takes a chance that if he doesn't have any insiders, it's up to the free market. That's exactly what happens, right? So I'm guessing what's happening with the pDAI now is there are no insiders. Okay, so he has to move around in this manner. That's how I'm interpreting it. Now, imagine you bought a lot of that hex supply. You're like really, really thick. And we live in this, new cycle mentality where people launch ecosystems and more tokens and stuff, but you could have been a big liability, right? You could have like stopped a lot of a rally. It would have been very, very annoying to pay him out. But luckily, there was no one who did that. There was Godwale. Godwale bought a big part of the supply for Hex, and Godwale is benevolent. It's pretty cool, right? So you're understanding this part, right? That's why, friends, Bitcoin's a true miracle. No one knew what it was going to do. If people knew what it was going to do, they'd just hold the supply, and then the game doesn't work anymore. I hope now you understand why Richard's a genius. Yeah? He looked at Bitcoin and what made it successful. And he looked at elements of what made it successful that no other person in crypto has ever, still to this day, cherished and appreciated. Not one. No one went the Bitcoin route. Okay? They went the Ethereum route. Okay, we keep half the tokens, we distribute, let's go out to the free market. That's the route they went. Okay? So, if you were a liability in Hex back then, friends, remember, we're looking at Richard Hart showing this screenshot of the Mintor, whatever. You would be a big problem. Now, luckily we didn't get that right. So, what about with pDAI right now? So, I've got a video coming out. Is Maria too heavy? Well, this is the problem, friends. A lot of people wondering, why is Maria dumping? And I'll explain for you my video. You're gonna watch it later on. He bought 3 billion pDAI. He couldn't have been an insider. He just skits, man. He figured out what Richard was doing. He tracked him. Because Maria's like really smart and you know, check the chain stuff. He's like, oh, I see what he's doing, right? And then he accumulated a big supply. Now, I'm guessing Richard didn't plan for that because it didn't happen with Hex. Because 3 out of like 18 billion pDAI at the time, man, the guy's got like 15% of the supply. It's ridiculously huge. One guy. So it would have been, I guess, okay if he just kept it. But what Maria did was he makes Atropa, he bonds it. Now they're bonded, yeah. And then he threw away the key. So this is the tough part now. There's no way to separate the bond. Except for one way. That's what Maria is doing. He gets his tokens. He has to dump the Atropa out. Okay. And this is why, friends, I believe... Look, either they're both skits and they're talking to each other, but if you look up the Atropa pDAI ratio, right here, so this is just Atropa, yeah? If you click on up here, see the Atropa pDAI ratio, see how this has been sinking like a rock? See, it's pretty tight, right? But it's been sinking down. I just get the feeling like Richard's made it clear to him, we got to sever the ties, bro. It's too heavy. You know, like, and here's the thing, you might have said, Sami, but what about the OG plan and stuff out here? Well, look, Habibi Albi, the OG plan did not expect Ethereum dog shit to be $2,000 in March of 2025. No one expected that, you piece of crap. Life just throws you lemons sometimes, friends. Okay, we did not expect it would be this trash. By the way, they got the Ethereum spot ETF back here, man, a year ago. You're telling me you're down to 50% after the Ethereum spot ETF? Vitalik and the soy, man, the soy. But look, friends, you have to admire. I hope you see it from my perspective, by the way. So forget Richard's words, okay? Just look at his actions. You have to admire that entrepreneurially. You know, he didn't quit. He's made a plan. That's why you back a guy like that. Okay, you back a guy like that because you put him in a corner, he can figure out a way to wig himself out, right? Whereas other people, they're like, oh, well, screw everyone. I guess it's over. Do you see what I mean? That's what I'm interpreting from here, you know? That's what makes him smart. That's what makes him, like, entrepreneurial. And that's what makes him a winner. Like Elon Musk, okay? Richard Hart, Elon Musk. Like, remember Elon Musk, they almost went bankrupt. He used his last, like, $50 million from PayPal. And then they were able to, like, you know, turn it around. You see what I mean? These people, like, just when you think it's over for them, yes, they're special. They're special for a reason, okay? And we're special for a different reason. You know what I mean? Like, I can barely wipe my bum. So it does look like the bonding is thinning, you know? So, man, if he never threw those keys away, all he'd have to do is just remove the bond and just pull it. And then pDAI trades independently. Atropa trades independently. But unfortunately, we got a crap load of bonding here. It's down to 2.5 billion. Okay. Now here's the thing. You're saying, Sami, when does it stop? Like, how do we know when's enough? Well, I don't know, bro. When it's enough for them. I just don't know. You got to believe. That's why I say you got to believe. Maybe Richard's collecting every day. Maybe he just needs 2 weeks of collecting. I don't know, you know. I remember, friends, I'm guessing, man. I'm guessing. It's just I'm trying to think. I'm trying to ping remote view into the universe. Trying to sniff out what's going on. Like, you know, how much supply could you be accumulating out here? Because you got to remember, there's Ethereum. It's OA collateral. Yeah. If, we don't know, definitely, but if that has a play in the part of the peg later on, okay, the more that Richard's supply is accumulated in his hands, okay, the less he has to worry about the collateral. Because he knows it's in his hands. He knows 100% he's not selling. He's not worried about someone else out here who wants to cash out $200 million or something, right? You get what I mean? So he's a super, super, super strong hand. He's the one he can trust. The strongest of hands, if you will. Okay? So when you see this tweet, it is a bullish tweet. So effectively what he's done is, it just, like, remove the story, remove the narrative, pretend all you've got are my, not one, but two, peg nipples to join you along the way. Remember, we're going to remove the names. We're not on Pulse Chain. It's not Richard Hart, okay? We're on Duck Chain. Yes, Duck Chain. World famous. Rabbi supported. And their founder is like, you know, Donald Duck. Okay, so you're looking at this chart here. Remember, it's Duck Chain. Let's actually just so you get into it. So you know, it's Duck Chain, okay? So what's happened is, remember, this Duck dollar, it's got to get to $1. Duck dollar has to get to $1, and what we'll do is we'll do the horizontal line. Dollar, where are you, Mr. Dollar? Here it is. Okay, so I believe Duck dollar, it was on its way. It was going all right. Okay, I think it was gone. Something happened with Ethereum here. Ethereum cucked us. Okay, so now Mr. Duck is cucked. So now that it comes back down here, I guess Donald Duck, the founder of Duck Chain, he's quacked away and he's like, you know, Ethereum, it's not enough for us to say swim in this little pond and be safe. Okay, Ethereum, we thought we could swim in this cute little pond with all the other little duckies and the froggies, but no more. Okay, Ethereum, we needed you 15 to 25K. I don't know if you're going to hit that. I hope you do. I just don't know, man. I can't take that risk. So maybe Donald Duck looks at Ethereum and he says, quack, quack. Maybe your 15K ain't hitting. Maybe it's more like 10. Max 10. Which is garbage. Okay, so what he's done is Donald Duck then looks at the Ethereum collateral. He goes, oh, if Ethereum's only going to hit around 10 that I'm sure of, I'm going to have $1.7 billion in the collateral. And so he knows how many tokens does that dollar cover. And so he knows how much it covers. And so he's looking at it right now. And Donald Duck, I believe, is saying, you know, here's the thing, man. If I don't do Operation Fud Wave 1 to 10 right now and get weak hands to relinquish so I can get them, if I don't get them right now, quack, quack, I'll never be able to get them. And it's going to be too late. Because my effectiveness of fudding up here, I can't get the price down here. All right? If this recovered up and he thinks about it when it's too late, now it's like 20 cents. He's like, all I could fudder back down to is like 1 cent. And you got to think, man, that's a huge difference. Think about this, okay? So with the same dollar, he can accumulate 10x more coins. That's big. Okay, so maybe he's accumulating 10 million pDAI per hour. But if he waited longer, deeper in the cycle, he could only accumulate during this FUD event 1 million pDAI per hour. Do you see that? He can't grab as much of the supply as possible. That's how I'm seeing this in my mind. Now, obviously, I don't know. I've got to speculate like everything else. And by the way, I'm wearing peg nipples and I'm wearing a Pikachu hat. You see what I mean? But this is how I see it. Remember, it's Donald Duck, right? It's Duck Chain, Donald Duck. Do you now see where I'm getting at? Now, also what Donald Duck has done, all right? Greg the Duck, someone call him. He's made his tweet here, friends. Like, this tweet that's appeared, like, man, this is just wild. So, just look at these events. Okay, event number 1, it's basically said, let's actually change to a naughty 4-hour. Event number 1 is, sell all your coins and sell them now. That's basically, don't worry about the tweets, don't worry about who said something, don't worry about this or that. That the interpretation is FUD, 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 FUD. Sell, we can sell. That's pretty much it. Sell. Okay. Now, he's basically, Donald Duck has said, okay, now step 2, pull your liquidity, make it thin, and I'm gonna have, friends, do we have a waffle? Here we go. We do. We have a waffle emoji. You see that, friend? The waffle emojis. Let's actually For some friendship and kindness, we've got to make it at the top of the bar as well. There we go. Let's make them 3. Let's 3 each row. Let's go. There we go, right here. Okay, so this is number 2. Man, that's... I'll be honest. Looks cruel. That does. If this works out, it looks cruel. But hey, that's what you have to do, man. You know, like, if you were that's probably how it's rationalized. It's like, well, if you were clicking sell on that and you weren't paying attention to the blockchain and you don't really believe, like Somi, if you don't really believe that we need a world's first decentralized stablecoin without a blacklist, if you really believe that that we're the like the MakerDAO community takeover, you know, version 2.0. Like, if you really believe them, you ain't gonna click sell anyway. You're willing to ride this to 0. That's probably how it's rationalized. And then maybe some of you even postulated in my Telegram, maybe Richard's also thinking about when he was buying Bitcoin early. And Satoshi was like, hey, you really want to change the world? Goodbye. I'm the founder. Goodbye. Maybe. See what I mean? Hey, you really want to change the world? Okay, let's see. I'm out. See yous. You know, and then everyone has to pick up the pieces. So, I know it's scary and it's uncertain, friends, but this is lifetime opportunity, okay? If it works out. It can go to 0, no crying in the casino, yada, yada. You understand? I'm just telling you, every single of the biggest home run stuff, they were like this, where it's full uncertain. No one holds your hand, and you like your heart beats every day. You like, dude, is it over? What do I do next? Okay. That's why when I see this uncertainty, people are like marveling at this skill I can navigate this uncertainty. But it's only because I'm here 18 hours a day, and I show you, man, all my content. I'm like, man, let's go back in time. You had no charts. You had no exchanges. You didn't know who this guy was. No one's helping you. There's no YouTube videos. You're by yourself. You know what I mean? Like, people have been there before. It might be happening again. So remember, Operation 1, Fud Wave. You got 10 Fud Waves, yeah? This is just interesting, right? So 10 Fud Waves have happened. 1, 2, 3, 10 Fud Waves. Now it is Bull Wave 1. Pull lick, please. And then I'm going to put an angel face, friends. You know the cute angel face? There you go. Like, pretty please. Pretty please. Can you pull your liquidity, please? Yes. So you're probably wondering, Sami, what comes next? Do we go down more? I don't know about the price direction. Look, I don't know about the price direction, friends. Okay, I don't know. And frankly, I don't care. I believe too hard. I'll tell you this though. Right now, you have 99 people out of 100 who are expecting bad news. Okay? 99 out of 100. They are expecting bad news. So, what happens in the next 7, 14, 21, 28 days if the bad news is not so bad? What happens if the bad news becomes like a bit less bad? Give you an example. The minter on Ricardo Corazon's thing, the minter's minting like 1 million DAI or 2 million pDAI. What if it went down to 200,000 pDAI? Think about that. What if it divided by 10? And then everyone's going, oh, he minted again. He minted again. And everyone's like, oh, it's 1/10 of what he used to do. Maybe something's changed, you see? And then maybe we go for like a 24-hour period, no minting. Interesting. Do you see? See what I mean? Now you might say, okay, but Sami, but then everybody will get back in. No, you can't get back in. The liquidity is pulled. Who's going to see the coins? Game, set, match. Okay, so if it's playing out, that's what we're seeing. Now, of course, there's always the Fud Waves. You could go down and stuff out here. I'm just telling you, because you don't know, friends. Like, just because I take these bets, I know people want certainty. Oh, please tell me it's definitely going to go up. Dude, I don't know crap. I'm just telling you. Look, man, in this game, you still don't know what comes next. Your job is not to know exactly what comes next. Okay? You'll never ever win on average exactly what comes next. Your job is just to take good bets. It's to find information asymmetry. I see a room of people, of 99 people who are so sure something's doomed. And then I look at the price. I'm like, interesting. This thing's 96% down on a dip. 99 people are telling me it's doomed. What if it's not doomed? That means to get back to its price again, it's got to do like a 40x. Isn't that wild? I think it really is a 40x. Yeah, something like that, like a 30x from here. You see, but I don't know if it's not doomed. You don't know that. However, you don't get the certainty. So if you're trying to figure out, I need to find out this key information that it's not doomed, you ain't going to find it. Okay? You're probably not going to find it. Only the believers take the prices. Example, if you go back to early Bitcoin days, let's say Satoshi just left. You don't get to wait 18 months to see if the community of this weird internet thing survives for you to get in at a good price. You don't get that. Satoshi just left. It's the beginning of 2013. Bitcoin's $30. You don't have time, friends. Let me show you. Let me go back. Let me actually show you on the chart so you see. And also, friends, I wanna pardon my French because I just looked it up. Satoshi left in April 2011. So here it is. Here it is. April 2011. $3. Okay, here we go. So it's 86 cents. You've never seen anything like this, Habib. Okay, that's what it looked like, friends. 86 cents. Like, if you were just going to wait 1 year, okay, to see if this thing can survive without Satoshi, it's at $5.60 now. If you're like saying, oh, wait another year. Here is April 2013. Wow, $146. So you're up. It's 200x higher 2 years later. You see? Remember, Satoshi just left. By the way, he doesn't tell you, hey, I'm leaving, but he hasn't posted in like a week. See what I mean? So the people who took on the most risk here, who said, Satoshi, where are you? You haven't posted in a month. Are you at Stacy's or Porky's or Misty's? He's a multi-dimensional guy. How many happy endings do you need, Satoshi? You know, people are out there calling his name. And so you have to imagine, friends, there's 10 people on the forums and they're yelling, Satoshi, Satoshi. By the way, that's how JP Mosquito, Jamie Dildo calls him. He calls him Satoshi. Satoshi, where are you? So 10 people. If you're a nutter like me, you're like, you know what? If we're going to survive, oh, there's 10 people calling this dude's name. I got to get in now before they realize that we don't need him. You get it now? If you're guy number 10, you're paying up 200x higher. Imagine like every 2 months, they stop yelling Satoshi and they buy in. You see how there's a stream of people, friends? So, but you know, in some circumstances, you know, it pays to wait because it doesn't work out. That's why you don't, there's no free lunch here. But the more risk you take, the more uncertain, the higher your reward. Not all the time, but like your potential payout is high because you're in believer territory. Okay? You're in believer territory. So there are people that I've even heard some whispers. People have said, Somi, I feel like you're on the right side. Some people have said this and I asked them, hey, are you long? And they go, no. I go, what? They go, nah. They go, they're waiting for more hints from Richard that it's going to go in a good direction. You know, I just said, bro, you're paying a higher price, man. And they're like, and they actually said, you know what? I don't mind it. But that's okay. Everyone's at a different path. Okay, so it is what it is. Okay, but you don't get a free lunch. Okay, you don't get Richard to kind of hint maybe the thing's not broken and price is down here. You know what I mean? So friends, that concludes Fud Wave number 11. It's more like Bull Wave number 1 because, and I'm not making this up. I'm actually very happy. Good. Tell everyone to remove their liquidity. Tell them. Good. Thin it out. You're removing the chairs from musical chairs games. There's not enough chairs for everyone to sit in. If and only if there's some good transparent news that comes later on. What it is, how it comes out, I don't know. I don't care. All I know is there's 4 red monthly candles on Ethereum, so I'm not expecting anything for a while. Okay? This is your friend Sami. Like, subscribe. Catch you soon.